Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we step into one such story. A coin that many people overlook. A coin that millions have held but very few have truly understood. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2009. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Just a copper-plated steel coin, common, simple, familiar. A 1 penny piece, something so small that many people would never imagine it could ever be special. But sometimes, history doesn't shout. Sometimes it whispers. And this coin whispers the story of a changing nation, a modernizing monarchy, and a hidden treasure for collectors around the world. The year 2009 in the United Kingdom was a period of transition. The global financial crisis had shaken economies. People were watching their money more carefully. Digital payments were rising. But physical coins still held emotional and cultural importance. The Royal Mint continued to strike coins not just as currency, but as symbols of continuity. And among them came the 2009 1 penny bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a monarch whose reign spanned generations, wars, technological revolutions, and cultural transformation. This penny featured the fourth definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank-Broadley. Her profile shows strength, dignity, and maturity. The subtle details of her face reflect not just age, but experience. Each line on the coin represents a moment in history, a year of leadership, a chapter in British identity. Around her portrait, the Latin inscription reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2009, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. These words connect centuries of tradition to a modern era. Now turn the coin over. On the reverse side, something revolutionary appears. For the first time in British history, starting from 2008, the traditional royal shield design was spread across all denominations from 1p to £1, forming the complete royal arms when arranged together. The 2009 1 penny features the lower left section of the royal shield. This is not just design. This is symbolism. The lion, the harp, the crowns, fragmented across coins, represent unity, strength, and the coming together of the United Kingdom as a single entity through its currency. This new reverse design was created by Matthew Dent, and it marked a huge moment in British coin history. It was the first major redesign of British circulating coins in over 40 years. So even though this pennies looked ordinary to everyday users, to coin lovers and historians, it represented a new chapter in minting history. A modern vision for an ancient tradition. The coin itself has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, a thickness of 1.65 millimeters, and weighs 3.56 grams. Made from copper-plated steel, it is magnetic, which was part of a modern cost-efficient approach by the Royal Mint. This change from bronze to copper-plated steel also marked an era of economic practicality. Even the metal tells a story. In 2009, over 1 billion 1 penny coins were struck for circulation. From a distance, that number makes this coin seem extremely common. But here is where the magic of collecting begins. Because in those billions, there exists rare conditions, special strikes, minting errors, and limited proof versions that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Collectors always look beyond just the mintage numbers. They search for perfection. They search for anomalies. They search for things that do not belong, because those things become history inside history. With the 2009 Elizabeth II 1 penny, certain versions have gained surprising attention in the numismatic world due to errors like off-center strikes, double dies, misaligned dies, clipped planchets, and unusually perfect proof finishes. One of the most sought-after versions is the proof strike made specifically for collectors and sold inside official Royal Mint sets. These proof coins were not struck like normal circulation coins. Each proof penny was made using specially polished dies and carefully prepared planchets. They were struck multiple times to achieve deep mirror fields and frosted details. The result is a coin that almost looks like a tiny work of art rather than everyday money. In perfect condition, especially those graded by top grading services like PCGS or NGC with high mint state or proof grades. These coins have begun gaining serious collector interest. Combine that with rare minting errors, and suddenly a coin that once bought you a small candy becomes something people dream of owning. Now imagine this. Somewhere, someone finds a 2009 one penny sitting in an old collection, or maybe inside a mint set untouched for years. They send it for professional grading. When the results come back, the coin isn't just average. It receives a near-perfect or perfect grade. Maybe it also has a rare error that occurred during a moment of malfunction inside the Royal Mint machinery. Suddenly, that small copper coin becomes a historical specimen. Collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying stories. They are buying moments frozen in time. And this is why the market for rare modern coins has grown explosively in recent years. People now realize that even newer coins can become extremely valuable if they possess the right characteristics. The 2009 one penny is especially interesting because of its role in a design revolution. It belongs to the first years of the new shield design era. That makes early examples more historically significant. And as years go by, coins like this that once felt ordinary start becoming keys to understanding Britain's monetary transformation in the 21st century. Now think about how many of these coins have been lost, damaged, corroded, or worn away by time. Out of the billions minted, only a small percentage survive in near-perfect condition. And out of those, an even smaller number are error coins or special issues. This shrinking population is what creates growing rarity. The collector world values three main things: rarity, condition, and story. The 2009 Elizabeth II one penny holds all three in the right circumstances. It has a story of a changing monarchy and coin system. It has rarity in its error and proof variations. And it has condition rarity, because very few remain untouched by circulation. Auction platforms have seen surprising excitement around flawless or unusual examples of this coin. Some collectors are willing to pay huge amounts just to own an elite specimen from a historically important year. For them, it is not just currency. It is a piece of Britain's evolving identity. And here on HD Ultra Rare Coins, you always hear about coins that teach us something deeper. This penny teaches us that value is not always about age. Sometimes it is about timing, change, and significance. It teaches us that even in a modern world, modern coins can become legendary. Imagine holding this penny in your hands. Imagine the year 2009. The world changing. The economy shaking. Technology advancing. And this tiny copper coin circulating through millions of lives without anyone noticing that one day, it might become a treasure. Now, let's talk about demand. The demand for rare UK coins has been rising rapidly across Europe, America, and Asia. Many investors and collectors are entering the market, not just for passion, but also as a long-term asset strategy. Rare coins are seen as tangible assets, protected from inflation and digital crashes. And because the UK Royal Mint is one of the most respected mints in the world, British coins naturally attract global attention. The 2009 penny is part of that respected lineage. Top 2. Today we are stepping into one of those stories, the mysterious and surprisingly powerful journey of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny 2011. Imagine walking into a small old grocery shop on a cold London evening. The shop smells of newspapers, tea bags, and fresh bread. You hand over a £10 note, and the cashier slides a few coins across the counter. Among them, one ordinary-looking penny rests quietly. You don't think much of it. For you, it's just one penny. But for collectors, historians, and sharp-eyed coin hunters, that single penny could be a gateway to history, legacy, and unimaginable value. The year 2011 holds a special place in British minting history. It was not just another passing year in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. The United Kingdom was standing on the edge of change, both economically and culturally. Digital payments were rising, cash was slowly losing its throne, and yet the Royal Mint continued to strike coins, preserving tradition in metal. Among those, the 1 penny coin of 2011 became a symbol of the final era of classic copper-plated steel pennies before the full transformation of British coinage in design and circulation trends. The front of this coin carries the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank-Broadley. This wasn't just a random artwork. It was an official royal effigy, authorized personally by the Queen. Unlike earlier portraits that showed her as a young monarch, this one reflects her maturity, her decades of rule, her calm authority, and the weight of an entire nation's history resting behind her eyes. Every fine line on her portrait tells a story of wars avoided, crises managed, and generations guided under her reign. Around her image, the inscription reads Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2011. These Latin words, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, connect this tiny coin to centuries of monarchic tradition that stretches back to medieval times. This is not just currency. It is a portable piece of royal authority. Now turn the coin over, and you see something that looks simple but holds a deeper meaning. The design shows a segment of the royal shield, more specifically the lower left quadrant of the United Kingdom's coat of arms. Introduced in 2008 as part of a revolutionary redesign of British coinage, these shield fragments mean that each denomination forms a complete royal shield when placed together. The 1 penny displays the top of the portcullis and chains, representing Parliament. This was a genius move by the Royal Mint, blending historical symbolism with modern design philosophy. The 2011 penny was struck using copper-plated steel rather than pure bronze, a change that began in the early 1990s to reduce production costs. It has a diameter of 20.3 mm and weighs 3.56 grams. But while those numbers may sound basic, they define its physical identity, a key factor for collectors when verifying authenticity. Every measurement matters in the world of rare coins. Now here's where things begin to get interesting. Even though millions of 2011 pennies were minted, not all of them are the same in the eyes of the collector's world. Among everyday circulation coins, there exist rare variants, minting anomalies, and special condition examples that can multiply their value beyond imagination. Some 2011 pennies were struck with slight misalignments. Some showed double die errors, where the design appears slightly duplicated due to a mistake in the stamping process. Others have off-center strikes, clipped edges, or unusual metal compositions caused by production anomalies. To the average person, these might look like defects. To a collector, these are golden signatures of rarity. Imagine a coin that escaped the busy production line with a tiny imperfection. Instead of being destroyed, it flows into circulation. It ends up in someone's pocket. That someone uses it to buy a cup of tea. The shopkeeper drops it into a cash drawer. Over years, it changes hands hundreds of times. One day, a coin collector finally spots it. They notice the subtle difference, the slight error, the unusual detail. And just like that, the coin's destiny changes forever. The collector world is driven by three main forces: rarity, condition, and demand. The 2011 1 penny from the United Kingdom ticks these boxes in special cases. Coins found in uncirculated condition, known as brilliant uncirculated or even proof condition, are far more valuable than those worn down by years of handling. Proof versions of the 2011 penny, especially those from official Royal Mint sets, are already highly desirable. But there's more. Certain era coins from this year have become legends in underground collector circles. Stories circulate about a 2011 penny incorrectly struck on a foreign planchet, meant for another country's coin. Another tale tells of a batch where the plating process failed slightly, giving the coin a unique tone and texture. These coins don't just become items of money. They become artifacts. Collectors today search through thousands of pennies, examining them under magnifying glasses, checking the weight, the rim, the alignment, the spacing between letters, all in the hope that they have found one of these rare survivors. The hunt for rare coins is not just about money. It's about the thrill, the chase, the feeling of uncovering something forgotten by time. When you hold a rare 2011 penny in your hand, you're not just holding 1/100th of a pound. You're holding a fragment of Britain's modern history, a piece of a reign that lasted decades, a symbol of a nation transitioning between eras. Over the years, auction houses have seen an unexpected rise in the interest of modern British pennies, especially those between 2008 and 2012. These years represent a transitional design period that future generations of collectors are already labeling as historically significant. The 2011 one penny sits right in the middle of this transition, making it even more desirable. Online marketplaces are full of listings of 2011 pennies. Most are ordinary and worth only their face value. But every now and then, a special one appears. A perfectly preserved proof coin. A mint-era specimen. A coin that has never been touched by circulation. When these appear, bidding wars erupt. Collectors from different countries jump in. Prices climb. And suddenly, what was once a forgotten penny becomes the star of the auction. And this is where the real magic begins. In recent years, exclusive private collectors have been willing to pay extraordinary amounts for unique modern British coins, especially those linked to notable minting variations or historically significant years. The 2011 penny, due to its place in the timeline of Queen Elizabeth II's late reign and the Royal Mint redesign period, has been gaining underground status as a sleeper coin. A coin that most people ignore today but that top collectors quietly chase. Some verified rare editions of the 2011 Elizabeth II one penny, especially those with double die errors and near-perfect condition, have drawn attention from elite numismatic investors. These investors don't just collect for passion. They collect as long-term assets, similar to rare paintings or classic watches. They understand something that most people don't. They understand that once Queen Elizabeth II's full era becomes a completed chapter of history, coins carrying her image from the later years of her reign will no longer be just currency. Top 3. This is the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny 1993, a coin that holds within it a story of history, change, mystery, and a hidden fortune that most people would never imagine. 1993 was not just another year in British history. The world was changing rapidly. The Cold War had ended. Global economies were shifting. The United Kingdom was adapting itself in a new era of modernization and globalization. Amid all this change, the Royal Mint quietly continued its work, striking coins that would flow into the hands of millions. Among them was the one penny coin of 1993, designed to carry the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II and the heritage of a nation with thousands of years of history. The coin itself is a beautiful representation of British identity. On one side, we see the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, showing her in a mature and dignified form, as created by the sculptor Raphael Maklauf. This portrait was used on British coins from 1985 until 1997 and is loved by collectors for its royal grace and timeless design. The Queen's expression reflects calm authority, strength, and continuity, symbolizing her long reign and stability during decades of political and social change. Around her portrait, the Latin inscription reads, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina FD, which means, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. These words are not just decorative, they represent centuries of tradition and the constitutional monarchy of the United Kingdom. Every time you look at this inscription, you are looking at a connection to a long chain of history stretching back to medieval kings and queens. Now turn the coin over, and you will see the iconic portcullis design with chains. This design is more than just artwork. The portcullis is a symbol of the Palace of Westminster and represents British parliamentary democracy. It signifies protection, strength, and the controlled power of the people through their elected representatives. Above the portcullis, you will find the words, "1 penny," boldly engraved, and below it the date, 1993, marking the year this small piece of metal was born into history. The coin measures 20.32 millimeters in diameter and weighs about 3.56 grams. It is made of copper-plated steel, which was introduced in UK pennies from 1992 onward. Before that, pennies were made from bronze. This change in composition was due to rising metal costs and economic efficiency, but it also created a significant distinction in British coinage history. The 1993 penny belongs to this new era of steel-based coinage, which makes it unique among earlier copper coins. At the time of its release, millions of these coins were minted. They were ordinary. They were used to buy candies, newspapers, bus tickets, and small daily essentials. No one imagined that one day some of these pennies would become incredibly valuable and highly sought after by collectors around the world. But this is where the magic of numismatics begins. Not all 1993 pennies are the same. During the minting process, small errors can happen. A slight misalignment in the die, an incorrect planchet, a double strike, a missing plating, a wrong metal composition. To the average person, these might seem like simple factory mistakes. But in the world of coin collecting, these errors are treasures. They turn an ordinary coin into a rare artifact. Some 1993 one-penny coins have been discovered with off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned on the coin. Others show double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misaligned die during the striking process. There are also reports of pennies struck on wrong planchets, making them either heavier or lighter than standard examples. These rare errors make certain 1993 pennies incredibly valuable compared to the billions of normal ones still in circulation. Over the years, collectors have searched through old jars, piggy banks, inherited coin collections, and forgotten boxes in attics. Many have found ordinary coins, but a few lucky individuals have discovered rare 1993 pennies with unique features that turned out to be worth thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition and error type. Condition plays a massive role in a coin's value. A 1993 penny that is heavily worn, scratched, or damaged will usually be worth only its face value. But one that remains in near-perfect condition, especially if it has never been circulated and still has its original mint luster, becomes a completely different story. Collectors grade coins on a scale, and high-grade examples of this penny can attract serious attention in the numismatic world. What makes the 1993 one penny even more fascinating is that it represents the last chapter of a specific design era. After 2008, the design of British coins changed to create a full shield when placed together. So the 1993 design belongs to the classic series that many collectors associate with traditional British coinage. This adds emotional and historical value to the coin, making it more desirable. For collectors, this coin is not just metal. It is a time capsule. It carries the story of early 1990s Britain in its weight, design, and existence. It witnessed an era before smartphones, before the internet dominated daily life, before digital payments became common. It passed through the hands of people who lived in a very different world from today. And now, decades later, it has emerged as a symbol of nostalgia and hidden wealth. Now imagine this. A man cleaning out his late grandfather's house in Birmingham comes across an old biscuit tin under the bed. Inside, there are hundreds of coins, dusty and long forgotten. Among them, he notices a shinier penny from 1993. Something about it looks different. The date seems slightly off. The design appears shifted. Curious, he takes it to a local coin dealer. The dealer's expression changes instantly. He examines it under a magnifying glass, then under a digital microscope. What he finds is astonishing. The coin has a rare double die error combined with an off-metal strike. It was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination. This type of error is so rare that only a handful are known to exist. The coin is later sent to a grading company, where it receives a very high grade due to its excellent preservation. News spreads quickly in the numismatic community. Collectors and investors from all around the world start showing interest. Auction houses make calls. Offers start coming in from private collectors. The coin becomes the center of attention, not just for its historical importance, but because of its extreme rarity and unique error combination. This is how ordinary objects become legendary. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny 1993 has now turned into one of those coins that serious collectors dream about. It is no longer just a coin. It is an icon. A symbol of how small, forgotten things can hold unimaginable value.